What's up to Lion Talk Live? We love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Duke Crew. This is Ball Hawk Ifeatu Melifonwu of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Lions Talk Live, Thursday morning show edition, and 1 week from today, guess what happens? The NFL returns to your TV screens, unless I guess you're going out to the actual game. But anyway, the season will begin in earnest 1 week from today, which means the Lions are down to limited time to make any final roster adjustments, get anybody in. We're going to talk about the practice squad. We're going to talk about Jackson Meeks and a bunch of other people returning to this team. We're going to talk about the two newest Lions on the team that were added yesterday. I guess you could say three with the safety that came on over. You guys get it, though. You do have some new pieces, but one big question does remain. There's an open spot still available on the 53-man roster. No, I don't think the Lions are done wheeling and dealing and making some things. One of the people they did add yesterday to the defensive line, I'd say he's intriguing because he does have some size. He's got some hellacious speed for a guy that size. We'll see what shakes out with it. Maybe he's a bit of a reclamation project for the coaching staff. Maybe they think in whatever scheme they're going to run, I think we're all kind of speculating. Will we run more of a 3-4? Is it going to be a hybrid 4-3? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see in Green Bay what happens. But these moves that have come down in the last 24 hours, they're going to leave us all speculating. Why is there still one spot still available? A lot of people in the national media have been speculating about this person, that person coming to Detroit. You've seen a couple of veterans who were released or still in free agency marketing themselves to specifically the Detroit Lions to sign. We're going to break that all down during the main top of the day. Before we get into that, you already know, before we get into the 5 headlines now, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We are now just 60 subs away from hitting 14,400. So if you can assist with that, I surely would be thankful for it. Also, if you have a free second of time, it won't even cost you a dang dime. Reach on down, hit that thumbs up button, that like button, hit all the buttons. We try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. One last thing, if I may, if you are considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan where I reside, let alone the continental United States, go ahead and give me a call. Shoot me a text. You see my number on your screen, 269-998-2384. I've been in the business for over 30 years, so if you want somebody who's going to shoot you straight, talk to you about, hey, if you're being overcharged by your lender, if you need to do this, that, or the other thing, vacant property, commercial property, anything in between, as long as it's on planet Earth, I can probably help you out. Give me a call, shoot me a text, we'll have a conversation, see if you need anything from there. All right, all that done, set out of the way. Let's get this show moving forward. Let's get it kicking some butt and heading off into 5 headlines now. All right, my the gods of Mountain Dew tell me the Lions will probably have another, a bit of information today between noon and 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see if that holds water. All right, first of the 5 headlines now. Detroit Lions schedule just got a lot easier. The heavy story by Ann Erickson. This came out yesterday. Since it wasn't really directly related to the Lions, I didn't want to bust into it and have a breaking news video. I figured it could wait to the morning show. But as you guys know, in their Week 6 matchup, the Lions are going to be facing the Kansas City Chiefs. One of the tougher games on their schedule, at least anticipated to be that way. We all get it. Chiefs, a lot of respect for them, but the Chiefs are going to be playing a little short-handed. The NFL handed out a 6-game suspension to Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashid Rice. Rashid Rice hit with their suspension for violating the league's personal conduct policy. Is it going to be a make or break thing, especially the last game of the suspension? Maybe not, but you know what? Anytime you can catch a team shorthanded, good for you. You got an advantage over them. Lions probably at that point will have a guy or two out on the injury reasoning, whatever I'm trying to say. But whatever we can say, Rice is one of their better wide receivers. The fact that he's not going to be available for that game, kudos to him for messing that up. Good thing for the Detroit Lions secondary. Hey, take every advantage you can get in the world of professional sports, because you know what? If you're missing players, the other team isn't going to make any kind of mistakes or connotations to you. They're going to just go out there and see what they can do to win the game. All right, next to the 5 headlines now. Ahmed Hassanin goes unclaimed and reverts back to Lions. Here's what happens next. A to Z Sports, story by Mike Payton. We did talk about this a little bit yesterday in the morning show. I gave you guys my thoughts. I thought it was a brilliant move. I thought it was a way to kind of free up a spot, not have to use one of your precious IR return designations. The Lions clearly feel like Ahmed Hassanin wasn't going to get claimed, and guess what? He didn't get claimed. Why is that? Because nobody wants to put in a waiver wire claim, put him on your 53-man roster, only know you're not going to be able to use him for the first 6 to 7-ish weeks of the season. Because of that, Lions rolled the dice and it paid off, and now he can come back to him. Now, let's also keep in mind, he is a free agent per technical terms of the rule. Lions will not be able to reclaim him until week 9 of the regular season. So there is still a chance somebody else could step up to the plate and say, hey, we want this guy. Here you go. Come join us. And he could say yes. It's my also full agreement. The Lions and Hassanin's representation had a conversation before the move went down and said, hey, we're going to let you get healed up, treat you right. We're going to pay a little extra cheddar. You go out and take care of that body, take care of that pec, get fully right, and then you'll be back here. And you know what? You'll be able to run out on the field with the Detroit Lions. I think that's probably more than likely what happened. This story outlines it all. You know, I know a lot of people were upset when we cut him. Well, you know what? You cut him in name only, it would appear. And yes, Ahmed Hassanin, you'll see him probably around week 9 of the regular season back with the Detroit Lions. And no, I don't think they're keeping a roster spot open until then to get him back. I think he'll be back at that point, and then they'll have to make a choice on who to get rid of. All right, next to the 5 headlines now. Lions add little-known pass rusher after cuts instead of bigger names. Fan side story by Nick Halden. Again, we went on the news yesterday giving you guys this information. We're going to break it down a little bit more for you today since we have time to break it down a little bit more. For you guys who didn't catch it, defensive tackle Tyler Lassie and defensive end Tyrus Wheat were added yesterday off waivers. Both of them a different, mixed bag of reviews on the guys. One was an undrafted player. One was a 4th-round pick. But they both have some size. They're both kind of versatile. They can play inside and out to a certain degree in a 4-3 scheme. But one thing you do want to keep in mind is Wheat's got some wheels. This guy can get out and actually run. He runs a 4.6 in the 40-yard dash, at least at his NFL scouting combine. Both these moves could be more savvy than we anticipated when we first seen him yesterday. Now, keep in mind, they cleared through 27 other NFL teams before the Lions got him. But this wouldn't be the first time during MCDC's coaching regime with the team that the Lions have picked up somebody nobody else saw value in. And you know what? They got value in that player. You look at some of the Lions' core players during the last 4 years of rebuild. Heck, just look at Khalif Raymond. How many other teams passed him by, let him, cut him from the team? And yet now, could you imagine him not being part of the Detroit Lions? I know he just traded Tim Patrick yesterday, but there were a lot of teams willing to pass him by because of the knee injuries. And you know what? He kind of resurrected his career. Jared Goff, we mentioned it in a video yesterday. He's the number 15th player per NFL GMs, other players, etc. When they vote on the top 100, they said JG is the 15th best, most valuable player, how you want to term it and word it, in the entire league. And he was thrown away in the trade with Matt Stafford. He was thrown away for peanuts. They just thought he was donezo, not going to be a part of the league very long. They had to get that contract off his books. Could it be that both Lacey and Wheat are in that line? We're going to have to wait and see. But I think if you watch some film on both of them, I'm not going to say I watched enough to have a firm opinion on them, but you can see why the Lions want them. Now, as far as the personalities, that I don't know anything about. I didn't hear him speak. I didn't see any kind of interviews with them at length. So it's hard for me to gauge that. But obviously, the Detroit Lions coaching staff, scouting department, in-league scouting department, let me rephrase that, saw a whole lot with these guys, and they wanted to grab them. Will they be here a week from now? That's another fair question, as the roster will probably firm up going into Green Bay. But right now, I will say this. I think you got some intriguing pieces with this. You look at what we'll talk about the practice squad pickup. For those who didn't catch who's on the practice squad, I think the Lions are setting something up here, and I think it's going to be a pretty nice defense after all. All right, next to the 5 headlines now. Proven pass rusher makes pitch for Lions to sign him after cuts. Fanside story by Richard Lewis. You know, I wouldn't be upset adding Carl Lawson for some extra powerful pass rush off the edge to give them a little bit extra juice. Might not be a bad thing. We don't know if Zadarius Smith is going to return to this team or not, but let's assume for the sake of this discussion that he isn't going to return. Carl Lawson is an athlete. Carl Lawson can get to the quarterback. Carl Lawson is okay with making sure the other team's quarterback must go down hard. Scary part is he thinks he's twice, according to him, and what player wouldn't think this, he thinks he's twice the player today that Zadarius Smith is right now. I don't know if that's accurate. Maybe somebody watches Lawson a little bit more. But if you're always looking to get more athletic, and I would say with this Lions defense, there's one thing they did last year and this year in the offseason, they have tried to put more athletes on the field. Simply put, they want to be bigger, faster, stronger, more powerful than the other team. And you know what? Lawson does check a lot of those boxes. I don't think he checks all of them. But just for the sake of this, in his NFL career with the Bengals, Jets, and Cowboys, he has secured 134 total snaps, 32 tackles for a loss, 122 quarterback hits. That's a lot in 134 snaps, by the way, and 32 sacks. Is he a bad idea for a one-year rental? I wouldn't think so if you don't feel like you can get somebody better than that. Where he's at in his career, it sounds like he wants to play for a winner. We talked about this a little bit yesterday in the show when we were all saying, hey, let's wait later in the day, see what happens with the cut downs, who the Lions pick up. You do see as a lot of veteran players who view Detroit as their pathway, their segue to get to the Super Bowl. Because of that, you're having a lot of them mentioned to the media, whether social media or natural media, whatever you want to say, that they would prefer signing with a team like the Detroit Lions because they believe that's an opportunity for them to chase a ring. Could that be right? Is that what the Lions are looking to do with that final spot? I guess only time will tell later today or maybe in the next few days. All right, last of the 5 headlines now. Speaking about Lawson maybe wanting to come to Detroit, well, multiple teams have shown interest in edge rusher Zadarius Smith. This is from Pro Football Rumors by Eiley Allen. I'll probably murder that one, but you know what, it happens. All right, so ESPN's Jeremy Fowler had a report yesterday on air that he is understanding that multiple teams in recent days, including yesterday, reached out to Zadarius Smith about signing him. He has turned down those overtures at the moment. Sounds like he's waiting a little bit more, maybe for a bigger paycheck. Could be from the Detroit Lions. We're all speculating at this point. But Zadarius Smith has taken on and let be known to Jeremy Fowler and others at ESPN that he's open to signing with anybody. He would prefer the Detroit Lions, but hey, he's not going to say no to anybody who makes him an offer he can't refuse. The 32-year-old Smith has remained a high-quality defender throughout his 10 years in the league, and I think most of us agree with that. If you remember a couple of years ago, he was buried on the depth chart with the Baltimore Ravens, then kind of had a breakout opportunity, took advantage of that. You guys probably know the story from there. Smith, though, he keeps putting up numbers. Even last year, he hit double digits in sacks. He's still got a lot of things. I know some people don't love him in the run defense as much anymore. I didn't think he was terrible at it. I didn't think he was also great at it, just not bad. He was manageable. But he still has the ability to get to the quarterback, and if you're going to have Smith on the team, I'm guessing that's part of why you put him on the field, is you want him to be a situational pass rusher. I don't know if he'll be a starter for the Lions, although it probably wouldn't be horrible if he was a starter, but you do see some teams trying to pick up some guys like Smith, Judon, etc., to come in and give you, 15, 18, maybe 20 snaps a game on a given different Sunday, see what can happen from there. All right, all that done out of the way. I did want to throw this up on the screen before we get over to the main topic of the day and break down. Oh, boy, where'd it go? Sometimes I got too many buttons here. Oh, here we go. All right, so practice squad. Let me get this off the screen, too. And I do want to add that for those who don't know, and it is listed here, Jackson Meeks is back with the team. Got Miles Adam, Ronnie the Hitman Bell, Tristan Colleen, Keith Cooper Jr., Eric Hollett did return. Zach Horton, he heard the who. Tom Kennedy, Jackson Meeks, Mason Miller, Michael Neese, Anthony Pittman, Jacob Sailors, Lauren Strickland, Dan Skipper, and Isaac Ukwu. So they're all back with the team. We'll see what the further developments happen in probably the next day or so. My guess is you probably get to next Tuesday's practice. Whoever the Lions are going to roll into Green Bay with is going to be on the team at that point, because you are going to want them to have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to go through the detailed portions of the week for practice. Friday's typically a film study day, then a move day, since Lions are going over to Green Bay. Maybe they'll wait till Saturday, but my guess is they'd still do it on Friday, but probably a little bit later in the day. That way you have your positional coaches meeting the day before the game. That would be Saturday next week. And, whoever you're bringing in, maybe you don't have high expectations for them on the 53-man roster, let alone the practice squad. But Lions are clearly going to add somebody else still. Could it be any of these guys? It's possible. I do think they're planning for something more. And you know what? We'll probably talk about that a little bit during the main topic of the day. So 1, 2, 3. Let's get over to the main topic of the day and see what you guys have to say. What are you guys speculating? We're hearing all sorts of kind of news. What is Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell thinking? Let's dive into it. All right. Again, there's nothing confirmed what the Lions are going to do. If it was confirmed, you know what? We want to have an open spot on the team. What we do know is they're planning something because they have a roster spot open. The Lions are still in the works to try to bring on somebody to the team. It'd be my opinion, if you break down the 53-man roster, that person's probably going to be in the defensive front. Could be a linebacker, could be a defensive lineman. That's where I think the value is still on the depth chart. Offensive line, you just saw the practice squad. You got a bunch of guys there, bunch of guys who have started for the Detroit Lions. You look who they protected as well on the 53 or 52-man roster currently. I don't see something happening there. Wide receiver, hey, you got plenty there. Plus, you got Meeks. Who would have guessed it? At the start of training camp, the Lions were going to roll with 3 rookie wide receivers. And yeah, they made it because Jackson Meeks cleared. There will be some speculating because Meeks re-signed with the Detroit Lions that, you know what, Zadarius Smith might be here. We just talked about Zadarius Smith. Let's move on from that and see what else could be happening. Could Lawson be the answer? I don't know. I've also heard some rumors yesterday throughout the national media. Lions might end up trading a late-round pick to team A, B, or C for a different person. Kayvon Thibodeau was mentioned. I don't think that's going to happen, although I wouldn't be mad if it happened. A bunch of other people that were situational pass rushers. What I do think, when you break down the bulk of the defense, the offense, I think we'd all agree is pretty set. There's probably not a whole lot going to happen there unless you're going to add another quarterback to the practice squad. So let's move on from the offense. The defense, though, more and more of you guys messaged me yesterday, reached out. Plus, I think you heard more and more natural media or national media talk about it. Lions are probably running more of a 3-4 formation most downs. You look at the speed and athleticism they put in the linebacker group, the talent they put there. You look at a lot of the ends they did keep. I talked about it with the Sarge, Tony Libretto yesterday. I do think there's going to be points where you see Aiden Hutchinson standing up as an outside linebacker at times. Probably Derek Barnes will be the opposite side guy. Maybe Cunningham will as well. Derek Barnes will be there. Jack Campbell will be there. You guys get a lot of people there. I think the Lions are going to do that because of the Don Caper tree. So let's Scooby-Doo that. If that's really where they're going to go, maybe 60% of the time on defense, who stands out? Does this Darius Smith fit that role, in your opinion? It's okay if you think yes, no, or whatever. I think Lawson would fit more, though, if you're going to go that route. If Judon was still available, I'd say he would be a natural fit there. But it's just all speculation. I know some of you guys hate it. You're done with the preseason speculation. But you know what? We're still a week away from the NFL regular season happening. So that's what we have to speculate on. I'm not sure what they're going to do with that roster spot. But the fact that they didn't acquire a full roster yesterday, I'm giving you my thoughts. Doesn't have to be your thoughts. Means they're still trying to work something out. Some minute detail with some agent is trying to prevent whatever from happening. What that is, I don't know. As a coach, I can tell you this. We get to next Tuesday, and I don't have my full complement of players. To a certain degree, that's a stressor for me. Why? I want to feel like there's no stone left unturned. I want to know I'm doing everything I can to prepare. The fact that we don't have 53, that we have 52, that is going to be upsetting to a lot of coaches. It also means you're putting, while it's minute, slightly more workload on everybody else to when you go from first string, second string, third string, etc. You're rotating in the practice squad guys. You're putting a little bit extra workload on people that don't need the workload, especially when you look over the length of the NFL season, plus your aspirations to get the Super Bowl. Yes, coaches freak out about all that stuff. Some of you guys, if you never coached, you probably don't get it, but little minute details freak out coaches when they're not filled. With that all being said, it would be my full anticipation. You get to Saturday, whatever's going to happen with the Detroit Lions, it's probably happened. And if nothing else, by Sunday night, because you want that person flown in on the field, got the uniform ready, initial playbook installed, all set, and you're going on from there. So, Do Crew, you've heard me talk about 3 or 4 different options for the Lions. Where they're probably going. If they're going to stick with a 4-3 formation as their base, then Zadarius Smith probably makes some sense. If they're going to hybrid it, where one time it's this, the other time it's that, maybe he still makes sense there. He probably holds less value then. Where do you think we're going? At the end of the day, we're all playing the guessing game, but I do think by Saturday night, whoever the Lions are going to add to get that spot, whoever they're negotiating with, whatever trade they may make, it's got to go down by then. All right, let's see what you guys have to say about all this. We do not have a special guest today. We won't have Kurt Steele either. He's on super secret assignment tomorrow, so he will not be there. He will join us this weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. All right, let me scroll to the top of the screen. What do you guys think of the practice squad? What do you think of the 52-man roster? And who do you think is coming on in to take another spot? Will it be Zadarius? Could it be somebody else? Are we trading? Are we signing somebody? All can be true. All can be wrong. Let's get into it. Michael D, greetings, salutations, Coach Dan and Duke Crew, exclamation point, one pride. Woo! Back at you. Bo, good morning, Coach Duke Crew. We all believe it. There's something going on. I would agree with that. There's something happening. That's why they didn't add that final piece yesterday. And even if they get 53 yesterday, I still think Brad Holmes, just looking at his history in the NFL as the Lions GM, he's still kicking the can around trying to make moves to improve the team somewhere. Johnny, good morning, folks. Back at you. Moonscar Blade. Morning, Ralph. Morning, Sam. Exclamation point. Good morning, Duke Crew. Starting lineup. I'm very happy with the practice squad players, even though Coach Rock Tom Kennedy, excuse me, I had to clear my throat. We got Tom Kennedy back. Can't get rid of him. No, man, I tell you, the cockroach Tom Kennedy, he is back. And yes, you know what? He never goes away. Gary, morning, everyone. Back at you. Johnny L, I agree with you, Bo Booth. I believe it's going to be an amazing move. I think so. Hookadoo, good morning, Duke Crew. And could that major move have something to do with Z and what else? We will find out. I get that's where everybody's mind naturally goes with things with Zadarius Smith. I think he's a strong possibility. Don't know, though. Bo, Death, Taxes, TK85, Skipper is eternal. I'll go with all that. Everybody's alive. But Scarblade, we picked up a Jags defensive end and traded Tim Patrick to the Jags. Could this have been part of a deal worked out between the two clubs? It could be. The fact that they gave up draft compensation, though, that was surprising to me. But, hey, good for us for getting them. Also, real quick, just to give Brad Holmes credit, he was probably definitely aware teams were calling, I'm sure he was aware that teams were calling about him and other players, Tim Patrick and other players. And he, I believe, intentionally kept them say, hey, we're not just going to cut him. You've got to give us something for us to give him up. And, kudos to him for getting something versus nothing. Bo, Mootscar Blade, one does wonder, question mark. I think so. Trey, what's good, everybody? Question mark. I think the team is seeking one more defensive player. That's where my mind's going. And it's somebody either going to be a linebacker, defensive end. I think if you look at the tackle room, it's pretty full. This doesn't mean you can't add more to it. Miles Adam to the practice squad was a nice move. But if you look at the 4 that they've got on the roster, I'd say we're at least currently pretty set. That will adjust, obviously, when Aleem the Dream McNeil returns. Moodscar Blade, Brad Holmes, the chess master. I agree. Henry Moore, good morning, Coach Dan and the Dooku. What a team. What a podcast. What a time to be a Lions fan. Woo! And back at you, Henry. Johnny L, this is going to be a great season. I think so, too, man. I think the Lions, this is our best chance to get to the Super Bowl that we've had. Hey, not that we haven't had some other chances. This is going to be a real good one, though. Just greetings, salutations, Duke Crew, sending thoughts and prayers for Minnesota. Can't believe what went down yesterday at a dang school church of all places. We're not that kind of show. The only thing I would say is, man, if you got it in you, send a prayer, send an emotional hug, do something for those people. I can't imagine being one of those parents, man. Yeah. All right. Hookadoo. Morning, Johnny L. and Gary. Let's see, the grit is strong this morning. Oh, yeah, I'm down with that. Gary, the changes will continue. Don't kid yourself. Nothing is set in stone yet. No, I agree. I think if If Brad Holmes feels like he can upgrade anything on the team, he's going to do it at any moment in time. Jess praying. There you go. Drake Meeks is back, so we did end up keeping 3 rookie receivers and got a draft pick for Patrick. Brad knows what he's doing. Yeah, 100%. It didn't cost you anything to acquire Meeks other than, I guess, a contract. You got him, and you added a 6th-round pick for the future. Tim Patrick, I like the guy a ton. Obviously, the Lions coaching staff said we'd like some other players at this point a little bit better. Drake, 100%. Jess Lynn, I concur. Plus, I'm guessing midseason or so we'll have Hassanin back. Yeah. It's got to be week 9 or later. Johnny L, grit to you, Mr. Hookadoo. Art, currently, there's still 1 open spot on the roster and practice squad. If they fill them both, can they still bring back Hassanin? Yes, they can. They just obviously cut somebody at that point when they reacquire Hassanin. Stephanie, what do you got? Good morning, boys. Exclamation point. I don't believe we are nearly done working on the team. More things will happen over the next week. I concur 100% there. Good morning. Johnny L, did I hear this right? Meeks is back. He is back. Guess who's back? Back again. Robert, greetings one and all. Where is Dan O'Damas? You know what? You're probably about a week away, maybe a little bit less, from seeing the return of Dan O'Damas. I'll put in a phone call, see if we can get him on. France, Art, I do think Hassanin will be back. Coach made some good points on that yesterday. Yeah, sometimes I mess up and get something right. Let's see, Attila the Hun. The Lions will cut players as Ali McNeil, Malcolm Rodriguez, Josh Pascal, and Ahmed Hassanin return from injury. I agree with that fully, 100%. Robert, where is Don Burr? I want to say, didn't I see him in here already? Maybe not. Gary, by the time Ahmed is ready to return, there will be a place for him. I agree. Johnny, you got that right, Stephanie. Michael, in my opinion, I don't think that it is in Brad Holmes' DNA to make a blockbuster trade. No, I agree with that. I don't think there'll be a blockbuster trade made. Brian, good morning, everyone. I'll tell the Hun. I thought all the players, including Meeks, were not going to make it through waivers. Well, we thought that about some people, but you know what? The Lions apparently were right rolling those dices. Big Eddie, morning, Duke Crew. Seems to me like we are going to run a 3-4 base D more this season. I agree with that. It does feel that way. Of course, one doesn't know until we see the season. Kurt Steele, what up, though, Duke Crew? Exclamation point. Back at you. All right, I wonder if they're going to pass on bringing back Nate Lynn. We haven't seen him back yet. So, right now, I guess we'll see what shakes out. Kerry, Hooked, is everybody back you want on their team? I was surprised Kennelly wasn't returned because so many of us have talked him up. I liked a lot of what we saw about him. Obviously, the Lions did not as much. Don Burr, I'm right here. What's up? What's up, Donnie Burr? Johnny L, never mind. Fox 2 just confirmed it along with Sailors and others. Yes, correct. Hookadoo, Professor Steele is in the house. Morning, Kurt. Back at you, Hookadoo. Just Meeks and Sailors back, not Kennelly. Correct. Kurt Steele, Hookadoo, good morning. Carrie, morning, Brian. Church, greetings, salutations. I like the decision made by the coaches. All we need to do now is stay healthy and get to the Super Bowl. Let's go Lions, 100%. Let's go get it. Kurt Steele, my latest article over at Sidelander Sports. You can check it out there. Gary, Nate Lynn belongs here. He played his butt off. I thought he played pretty well this preseason. We'll see. Maybe he's looking for a better opportunity, to play somewhere else. Maybe he doesn't want to be on the Lions practice squad. Johnny L. Sonic and Knuckles, Thunders and Lightning. Oh, yeah, baby. Lions. Go Lions. Woo! And back at you, Johnny. Susan, doesn't really feel as if we lost much. Everyone came back to the team. Basically, everybody cut that you wanted back, I guess, did have an opportunity to return. Gary, so did Sailor. There you go. Let's see. Moon Scarblade, Ahmed Hassanin could be brought back to the practice squad under the International Pathway Players Exemption, which would allow the team an additional 17 practice squad spot. Yeah, that's what I originally thought, but it does feel like for whatever reason they didn't use that on them. So I don't know. The only thing I can imagine is to have them there. Maybe you have to have them on the IR, and if you want to return them to the team this season, you'd have to use one of your limited IRs, and you only have a few of those for the year. Great day. I've noticed Brad plan, and it's to get younger and faster every year. Lions are going to be a 30 and younger club besides their quarterback. Correct with that. As of yesterday, they were they switched. Last year, they were the 9th youngest team in the league. Now, currently, they're getting a little bit older up there with some of their additional parts. Although with some of the guys they added yesterday, that's probably going to bring it down a little bit. But, hey, you do have some of your better talent also starting to ascend in age. Bo, I have to wonder what's going to stick out the most in Green Bay, offense or defensive changes. I'm guessing defensive changes. That's my assumption there, Bo. Christine, one practice squad slot open most likely will be a quarterback. I wonder if you're right. Johnny L. Moonskar, what's that all about? We'll find out. Hookadoo, would it be, would he not be protected from getting poached, Moonskar? If he's on the practice squad, he could be poached unless he's one of your 4 protected players. So are you going to protect a injured player on that spot? Probably not. Grady, Kurt probably at defensive tackle. 5 fingers Friday. 1 week from today, the NFL's back. You are correct for that. 5 fingers. The Trim Reaper. Good morning, Coach Dan and the Money Do crew. Exclamation point. Woo! Back at you, Don Burr. I don't think we know the actual 53 until a few days before the game. Exclamation point. If there is an opportunity to get better players somewhere on now, the 53 could see the door. Yes, someone on the team could be shown the door if the Brad Holmes can upgrade a spot, in his opinion. Coach Rock, good morning, Duke. I can figure if I don't let my hopes get too high, they won't let out the air of the balloon, nothing big happens. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think it's going to be like some massive, like, hey, we're trading 50 first-round picks to get somebody, but I do think the Lions are trying to make something happen there. Kurt Steele, Dre Day, they don't have a practice squad quarterback, so why would they add a defense tackle to the practice squad? We'll find out. Kerry, I think it's only one game our offense is going to have to rule. There you go. Hey, let's see if that is true. Coach Rock, good morning, Hookadoo. Jessica, I agree, Don Burr. Al, good morning, Coach. I must admit, I'm starting to get edgy, if you know what I mean. Ooh, I see what you did there. Very well played. Coach Rock, good morning, Kurt. Marcus, told you Dan Skipper would be back on the practice squad. Exclamation point. Some fans were crying like it was the end of the world. Hey, he is a fan favorite to a lot. I get it, man. Hookadoo. Rock, glad to see your grit this morning, 100%. Coach Rock says, Kurt Steele, good morning. Dre, because Brad doesn't do things as the rest of the league does, he'll sign a third quarterback if Goff gets hurt. Might be. J.K. Moonskar laughing alone. Are you seriously, Clark? We'll find out. Marcus, relax. Hey, sometimes we all need to relax, right? Have a good, relaxing day. Kurt Steele, Dre Day, okay. Johnny L., dominate. We'll see if we dominate all season long. Steve Rogers, if we don't add Z, then who? Now, that's the good question, I think, right there. Dunberg, Kurt, you're learning sometimes, okay, is all you can say. All right. Mary Smith, good morning, Duke Crew and Lions fans. Back at you, Mary. Hopefully it's a phenomenal start to your morning. Bootskar Blade, Hookadoo, Hassanin, growing up in the foreign country, it is a way that the NFL allows teams to bring in a player from a different country to try them out and help grow the NFL recognition around the planet. Correct with that. Bootskar, so ultimately it's about the cash. Hey, who doesn't like cash? So small. I don't think C returns. It might be true. Kerry, Bo, remember your rotation indeed. JK, I think Tim Patrick wanted to be traded, didn't want to be traded to a losing organization team like the Jaguars. Might be true, but at the end of the day, he did not have control of that. Down below, the coach, Shep, will use his linebackers off the edge to generate pressure. They might not bring another edge in. No, Don, and that's where I think you and I agree. I do think it's part of the plans. Jack Campbell, if you remember his rookie year in the league, they used him a lot in that. You know, obviously Derek Barnes, it's part of his mantra. It's going to be there. I think Jack Campbell might be used in the middle a little bit more along with Anzalone if they go 3-4, and just because they're a little bit better at coverage. But Barnes, maybe Cunningham, a couple of people maybe have Hutch standing up as one of your outside backers. I think that could be where they go. Dre Day, you're probably right, JK. Okay. Don Burt, way away. Tori, I'm sure he didn't, but that's where he is. Enjoy the weather. Timmy, there you go. Hookadoo, thanks, Moonskar. Moonskar, Johnny L., you are writing lyrics for the next Metallica song, ? Sounds about the level of writing these days. Okay, we'll go with that. JK, but it is what it is now. Agree. Okay, Coach Rock. Kurt, do you happen to know what's up with Kennelly? I don't, at least. Maybe Kurt does. But I expect the linebackers to rise like their immortals, the Immortals of Persia. Always someone to fill in the rotation. All right, Bo's on it today. Johnny L., I feel bad for Tim Patrick. Hey, man, if there's nothing more that most of us fans can ascertain from the week that is the cutdown day, it's all business. You can be the greatest human being, have the greatest relationship with that GM. Being a former GM, I can say this, it stinks cutting people. I know I've talked about it before on the show, but part of your mentality is, man, this person I've worked with for a year or two or gotten to know. I know the kids. They come up and, say hi, call me uncle, whatever. That kid's now got to switch to a new school. Probably doesn't even know everybody there. The family's got to pick a move. They got to sell the house. They got to, do whatever. They got to go through all that stuff. But at the end of the day, as the GM, you got to make a business decision. I can't worry about your feelings. I can't worry about your family, your kid, your schools, or whatever. I got to worry about the team. And that's where it really stinks for Tim Patrick. I have no doubt he was beloved by the Lions coaching staff, front office, everything. But they had to say, hey, the other 6 guys we're keeping are better. We're going to invest our time and money, resources there. Tim Patrick, I wish you well. Here's a parting gift. You're on your way to Florida. It stinks, man, but it is a business. Kerry, I think Patrick is happy to be playing anywhere at this point. Yeah, could be. See, he's simply happy to keep the career going, getting those paychecks. Central Scrutinizer, talking about someone I haven't seen in a hot second. Greetings, salutations, coaching Duke crew. Woo! Let's get this training rolling. Let's get this train rolling indeed, my friend. Mootscar, why? Question mark. Tim Patrick basically steps into a wide receiver 2 role in Jacksonville. Might be. Maybe want to chase the ring, though, in Detroit. Who knows? Don, you feel bad for multiple plus millionaires? They're still human, though, my friend. Let me tell you. JK, Timmy was done dirty on paper. Look, in my opinion. Okay. We're going to do same here. I do feel bad for Tim Patrick. Yeah, anybody cut from the team you feel bad for, but, it is business. You can't keep everybody. Let's see, JK. That's what Tim is for money, nothing else right now. Okay, Dre Day. I feel bad for Tesla. He has no one to learn from player-wise on the field. That's his body type. He will have to learn on the fly as a number 3. J-Mo's that different than him. I mean, maybe not as powerful, but J-Mo's 6'2 plus. Tesla's almost 6'4, so you got, about an inch, maybe an inch and a half difference if you're just talking about the height there, Dre Day. Mootscar, NFL not for long. It's a brutal business. The average for an NFL player is under 4 years. So anytime you start getting a 4, 5, 6, you've done your due diligence. You've beat the odds. Jedi Sith, good morning. All back at you. Don Burt, Detroit fans get so attached to players. I think that's true in a lot of fan bases. Johnny L, I just want him to get a ring with us. I get it indeed. Jason, will Dan O'Damas be on a split screen with you next week? I'll see if I can make that happen. Bo, has anyone seen Tim Patrick after the trade? Question mark. I wonder what he has to say. He's probably less than happy, I would guess. Don Burr, hell, we all want a ring. It's been 100 years. It has been a minute. JK, ring or joke? Okay. William, good morning, Dan and Duke crew. Let's see what is cooking in the Lions den today. We'll see as the day progresses, my friend. Moonscar, we definitely do. Exclamation point, Don Burr, Don of Bears fans. All right. Now, Hoogadoo. True, Moonscar. I didn't think about that. He'd be the number 2 of the Jags. Might be true. I don't know enough about the Jags to know if he'd be 1, 2, or 29. Robert, Brad is cooking. And always, I would say, Robert, Dre Day. I thought Tim and Cleve had one more year, but so much for Tim. But at least he is in the league. He is in the league, still getting paid. This is true. Johnny L. Oh, we're getting that ring. I think so. Mike the Rain Gunny. Howdy, Dan, the Duke Crew family. Woo! Back at you, Gunny. Mary Smith, Don Burt, you got that right. I hope I don't have a heart attack when we get it. Hey, just take a moment of pause when you're watching us host that Lombardi and just let it all sink in. Don Burt, Mary, you won't. You're just going to party and enjoy it. Exclamation point. Well deserved. It will be well deserved. Lionel, greetings, salutations, coach of Duke Crew Worldwide. Exclamation point. I'm liking how this roster is shaping up. Thunder and Lightning. Lightning and Thundercats. Oh, back at you. Hoogadoo. Morning, Mary. Just hit your grip button when you get that ring and you'll be fine. Yes, hit all the buttons if you would be so happy. Gary, I want Barry Megatron, Doug English, Chris Spielman, Jerry Ball, a gazillion others to get a ring for the memories and entertainment. All right, we'll go with that. I want Robert Clark. Pete to Robert Clark. I used to love that combination. JK, KC will be easy win in your opinion. Let's hope so. Hoogadoo, ain't that the truth, Terry? Exclamation point. Mary Smith, I'm glad that we text because after we get that ring, we're not going to have a voice. No, yes, you were right. You're all going to be yelling, screaming. We're all going to be in that same boat there. Dumber, nothing is easy in the NFL. Nothing. I agree with that. 100% there. Bo, KC picked up Broderick Martin. They did. He is on their practice squad. Drady, Broderick Martin is in Kansas City. Wonder if he shows out there. I wish him well. At the end of the day, I wish him or all the people well. J.K. Martin is in practice squad for KC. Funny. The Central Scrutinizer, hit that thumb, hit that like, hit all of them. Pierce, this move better be an edge. Let's hope so. Motown Sports and Travel, waving and hi. How you doing, too? Pierce, the depth at edge is gone. It does seem like it's changed, hasn't it? Bootscar Blade, B. Martin, KC, question mark. Oh, please let him start against us so he can run past him so fast. They probably brought him in to pick his brain about our schemes and verbiage. Maybe, could be. JK, Wheaties, hey, you gotta love those. Mary, good morning, Hoogadoo. Carrie, Z will be here. Josh, are you going to trade for an edge rusher next? We will see if they do that. Phil, good morning. Good morning, Phil. Nice new thumbnail. Hookadoo, Mr. Hassany even said on cut day, your breaking news that they trust the Lions. So him saying that, I thought they had a plan. Yeah, I do think they have a plan, a wink, wink, or whatever you want to call it. So I think that's going to happen. Let's see, JC, greetings, salutations, coach and crew, exclamation point, back at you. And once again, Don Burr. Pierce, there's an article that I believe on Pride Detroit, exclamation point, talking about the defensive end situation, how Shep's defense uses the linebackers on the edge to generate pressure. Barnes, Anzalone, excellent read. Yeah, I think it's going to be more of a 3-4 setup, and I know we've already covered that, so I won't go into that in depth. Big D, morning crew, back at you. Thomas, both D-line pickups could be okay, but nothing big. I believe Hosty will be back. Z comes back down to cash, or could be here now. Need 2 weeks to prepare. Yes, indeed. It's indeed. Smith is washed. Rob Hawk, hey, coach, can they use some kind of international player clause to have Hasnain as the 54th player on the roster? So my understanding of the rule, because I know a bunch of guys asked about it once he got cut, is because of the injury, they would still have to designate him on the IR. So you would still have to put him there. The problem with that is he's now out for the year, unless you want to use one of your precious few IR return designations on him. It doesn't sound like the team wanted to do that. So what do? You waive them, let them clear waivers, injury settlement time, and then week 9, you can bring him back to the 53-man roster, and you did not have to use one of your limited returns. All right, JK, Z is locked unless he gets picked up by someone else before deadline. Might be accurate. Dre Day, Carl Lawson is 30, probably won't make it unless it's a cheap one-year rental. It would have to be probably something like that, Dre Day. Johnny L, I'm beginning to believe that Z won't be back. You know, here's what I'd say. With Z, do you think he's a 3-4 end? If he is, then it makes more sense. If you think we're going to stay in the 4-3, then he makes more sense. That's why I'm starting to lean with Zadarius Smith. Vern, good morning, Coach and Duke Crew. Exclamation point. Coach, do you think we could use an impact player? Who would you get? If I could go get somebody, I don't know. I'd have to think about that, Vern. I don't want to throw out just some name just to throw it out. But we'll wait and see. I do think the Lions are trying to make something happen. It just, whether or not you can make that happen. DM5 TV, how could signing Z be a bad thing? The guy had 9 sacks with Cleveland and 3 with us for a total of 12. He could still help us. What's Brad Holmes doing? We'll find out. I think Brad is up to something, though, without question there, DM5. Kurt Steele, Lawson said he, as himself, is twice as better than he was last year. No shot at Big Z. Okay. Look at you. Someone would have to pick him up by now. Johnny L, I believe they have a gentleman's deal. I agree so. Let's see. JK asked Meeks for Uncle Z to join us. I'm down with that. Henry Moore, good morning again. I think Zadarius Smith is thinking about retiring. Ooh, might be. Well, I hadn't thought about that. Down with all these hyper Zadarius is getting from the Lions fans, he better come in like Trey Hendrickson 2.0. Dang, I'm down with that. Thomas, Z could play it around enough to end up losing out on cash he wants if he waits too long. Yeah, if he starts missing game checks, he's going to miss money. Johnny L, yeah, you're right there. You're probably right there, Hookadoo. Reversion to the mean. Good to see you, my friend. Z's value here is a rotational piece to stay fresh on the sideline. Wisdom, he's a guy who is easy to like overall. I agree with everything you just said. JK, I know, right, Thomas? David, I think Z will be back week 2. Might be. Kurt Steele, Skip. Okay, Skip, yes. Skip is back with the team. Thomas, glad Bell is back. Exclamation point. He's a, quote, hands at catching wide receiver, which love it is so far not. No, I would agree with that 100%. JK, Uko won't hold. We need Z. All right. Pierce, Donberg, good morning, bro. The only reason Z gets this hype, in my opinion, is the sheer fact that he is better than Davenport. All right, yeah, I know you and Davenport have some relationship there. Carey, and not injured, Donberg. Good morning, Pierce. Could it be true he really better than a healthy Davenport? Question mark. He's hard to say Davenport never stays healthy. Yeah, hard to say that Davenport never does stay healthy, and let's hope he changes that this season for us. Pierce, Donberg. He is more available, laughing out loud. Facts, says Don Burr. Pierce, Don Burr. Again, there's an edge. This is a complete roster. Yeah, if we grab an edge, I think I like where we're going. Dre Day, little faith in Davenport. Man, that man is going to be great. I hope so. Look at who. If Davenport gets injured again, he might as well pack his bags. He's probably accurate. Moonscar Blade, Rob Hart, not the 54th extra player, just a practice squad spot. Yes, indeed. But again, I think if he's injured, you still got to give him an IR. Unless you're just going to let that spot sit there and not plug it. Johnny Gaz, good morning. Duke Crew, exclamation point. Happy Thursday. Back at you. JK Davenport is not A1 Atlantis. He's not going to come and go fast. All right, fair enough. Church, Coach, did you hear anything about signing Jennings from the Patriots? I know there was a lot of chatter about that, but as of right now, at least when I went on air, I had not seen us signing him. So the only thing I can say is at this point, it hasn't happened. Denver, I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit brought in another tackle, and O'Connor McDermott is the name I'm watching. Well, let's keep watching. Kerry Smith will cause everything inside when playing opposite to Hutch. Might be. Pierce Tom Burr would not be mad at that. Josh, are we going to make a trade today or tomorrow? That I don't know. I think we can all agree they're doing something. They're trying to make something happen in order to finish the roster or get to that 53 count. Hasley Malley, good morning, Coach Duku. Yes, Ahmed, find his culture and his mentally in Detroit organization. It's all God plan. We trust Mr. Brad Holmes, and Ahmed owner is a commitment. Let Ahmed get healed soon. Yes, let him get healed up. Let him get right. Let him get back on the field with the Detroit Lions. Good morning or good afternoon to you too, my friend. Coach Rock probably used the Tim Patrick 6th-round pick in a trade package. If that's the route they take, you might not be wrong with that, Coach. Hoodoo. That's what I was saying. Kerry Z, opposite of Hutch, the Crunch Brothers. Exclamation point. I'm down with that. JK, surprise Lions didn't pick up any undrafted free agents, question mark. Team is deepest. It could be. Well, Cooper Jr. did re-sign on the practice squad. Mary Smith, Kerry, I agree. Thumbs up. Hookadoo. Mr. Hassan, so looking forward to when Ahmed gets back. Exclamation point. Silent service. You won't have to cut a player if you brought Ahmed back because he's a foreign player. Well, let's also keep in mind he's injured. So are you going to let an injured player sit there, occupy one of your spots, which means you're now shorthanded? That's why I think they cut him, gave him the injury settlement so they don't have to put him on the IR and then eventually use one of the return IR spots or designations for him. If you put him on the IR, he's done for the year. You can't work with him, as far as training him, developing him. If you bring him back, though, you can, which the only way you can do that if you put him on the IR is to use one of your precious few IR designations for return. So I think they Scooby-Dooed it and found a way around the rule, basically. Server, good morning, Coach, and all Lions fans. Back at you, Rondo of North Carolina. Could be too focused on Z, question mark. Maybe Brad is cooking something even bigger. That could be accurate. 313 clones. I think Dollar Store Brad will get someone cheap. I hope we get lost, but I don't think so. Might be. Yeah, and hey, good to see you, man. It feels like it's been a hot second since I've seen you. Same with Rondo. Let's see. Service Coach saw a video of Tyrus Wheat when he was a freshman in college. I like what I saw. Looks like he really hits violently, and a little like James Houston, and he's no little man. He weighs 265 pounds. Yes, indeed, with all the above. Black Jared Jones, the first two games coming up are really important for us to get a win. No, I agree. You want to go 2-0 in those games for the divisional reasons. Gary, Brad isn't looking to spend with the contracts we already have. All right? Bus driver Brett, remember, no one can be, quote, claimed off the practice squad if that player doesn't want to join a team. Not sure how much that happens or reported. Okay. They do have 4 protected spots for sure. Thomas, like to see from on the practice squad quarterback if available. Yeah, we'll see what they do. It seems telling to me that the team hasn't signed him like before training camp or anything to give him a kind of a tire kick. The fact that they didn't do that probably tells you what the Lions coaching staff thought about Jake Fromm. Church, the Kool-Aid isn't tasting very good this season to be a Lions fan. Woo! It is indeed tasting pretty good. Kerry, agreed. Thomas, Ziggy and friends, good morning. Captain Dan and the Duke Crew, all-stars, back at you. How are you doing today? Lions bad guy fans are just going to have to learn to like and love the roster. I'll go with that. Vernon, Coach Sheila Hampford, can you trust Brad Holmes to make the decisions? I think she does fully trust him. William, greetings, salutations, Dan and Duke Crew. Just waiting for what Brad is cooking. I think we're all chopping at the bit to see, my friend. Michael, enough Tim Patrick talk. He was like a 1-year rental player. Who can I get a Sheila Woo? I'll try to give you a Sheila Woo on 3. 1, 2, 3. I got to find it on the screen. And there you go, my friend. All right, Silver just got in. Perhaps you have covered the subject. Lions have 3 defensive ends, 4 if you count Wingo, who plays in and out. 5 if Pascal comes back. Now they have 6. 1 with Wheat and an extra defense tackle, sure they're going to get Z? I'm not sure about that, Silver Surfer. Not at all. I do think they're trying to make a move for something. My personal opinion, it's going to be the front seven. So I'm not ruling out a linebacker because I do think they're trending more for a 3-4. I'll say, Manley, Mr. Holmes, very smart businessman like me. Maneuvers in business require all the best of the team. We need the Super Bowl. Go Lions. Ahmed is healing, enjoying his wife. Good timing for injury. Okay, I'll go with that, and good luck with that healing. Broski Bear, Lions were undefeated the road to last season. What's the plan attack at Green Bay week 1? Heavy run, heavy pass. Pass to set the run, blitzing more than 5 on defense. All could be true there, Broski Bear. Let's see, Bo, great point, Mr. Manley. Guy needs his honeymoon. Hey, good time to fit it in, right? Jim, I think Tim Patrick contract fully guaranteed. It could be. I'm not sure about Patrick's contract. Drady, I don't think J-Mo was that tall, but is his maturity grown enough to teach? ? Jury is out on that. Yes, I agree with that. It's probably fair. Bo, Broski, that's a huge question. ! I'll go with that. Jonathan, how much money did we save with all the cuts? Maybe Hutch extension soon. Could be accurate. One can only guess on that. Silver, Coach, we said they could trade one veteran, but not 2. And so it went. But in training camp, we're understood Khalif was the number 3. We're wondering how could Tesla get snaps. Now we know we're in good shape. Yeah, I think, man, he got significantly younger at the wide receiver room. Some of these guys are going to develop. You can't promise everybody is, but I think Tesla is got some big expectations. Meeks, we'll see. Love it, we'll see. Just give it time to see what the coaching staff does with him. Silver, Ase Malley, good thing he got his wife. Can't wait to see him healthy and back on the silver and blue. No, give it about a month and a half. That's where I basically think he'll be back with the Lions. Proceed. It seems like Brad Holmes is setting up for a trade, possibly for a defense end or maybe for some depth at offensive tackle cornerback. Could be. I wouldn't be sad with any of those. Bus driver Brent, international players still count for the 53, not the 54. You can add them to your 16-man, make it 17, but that's only per. Correct. But if they're still injured, you're still giving up a spot to somebody that you don't need to give up a spot to. Bootscar Blade, hey there, Broski Bear. Happy to see you. There you go. Detroit D, good morning. Duke Crew, back at you. How you doing today, man? Broski Bear, Bootscar Blade, Knuckles and Thunder. Steve, I got a Laporta jersey for my closet, just drying, to see fall is finally here. Yes, fall is finally here, man. It is definitely changing weather. Drady, I doubt anybody will be disappointed, but if Z doesn't come back, he might only play 12 to 15 snaps a game. Only reason why I feel his contract has to be team-friendly. Yeah, it could be just that, Drady. It could be just that. Mary Smith, Duke Crew, I'm checking out to see you all in the morning. Have a blessed day. We'll see you then. Have a great day, Mary. Silver, Alliance in great shape at the wide receiver position, especially with Meeks in the squad. If it wasn't that good, I'd have picked immediately Trey Palmer of the wide receiver Bucks released. He's an athlete fast. I wonder if they'll take a look at him. Amy Smith, good morning, Dan. The ultra fabulous new crew. ! Looking like Z might not be back. Just wondering now, ? Everyone have a great day. Same to you, Mary. Hopefully you have a blessed day. Hookadoo. See you in the morning, Mary. Kurt Steele. Watch the JMO interview that dropped yesterday if you are worried about his maturity. No, I know we've talked about it. I get he was a little immature in the guy here, but he does seem to be progressing. Bo, Kurt, I was thinking the same thing. Jay, good morning, everyone from Green Bay. Go Lions. Hey, somebody behind enemy lines there. Carrie, happy trails. Have a great Thursday. Stay safe. Go Lions. Woo! Back at you. Drain day. That's what I'm worried. It's all laughing, incoherent half the time. I thought he wasn't the right state of mind. No, not like a Jared Goff speaking to someone. Kurt, okay. Mike, yeah, people need to see the St. Brown Pod JMO interview too. Check it out. Silver Sir, I feel good about the roster. Love they got Miles Adams back. Me too. Meeks, Colleen. Very important because I'm not sold on Kingsley Oquana. Glad to have Strickland and even Skipper. Yeah, we got good depth, good veterans on there. All right, guys, I'm going to go and get out of here. If there is breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as soon as possible. Before checking out, would you be so kind? Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit all the buttons. Take care. Do something kind for somebody you don't know. Be a good human being. And we'll see you all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Excuse me, sir. Would you... Donations to the Reverend Moon? Juice for Jesus?
Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism?
Help Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology?
Or nuclear power?